Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about slope. So we're going to review all the stuff we know about slope so far, and that'll help us sort of get started into forms of line. First thing, we talk about slope, we are measuring the steepness of a line. So let me just kind of sketch out a couple things for you. If I talk about slope and I say it is a positive slope, that means as you read left to right, this line is going up. So all of these have a positive slope. Talk about a negative slope is as we read left to right, it is going down. If we talk about a horizontal line, that has a slope of 0. It's not that it has no slope, it has a slope of 0. And then the last thing, a vertical line has an undefined slope. So no slope is never an answer. Let's just go with that. There's a couple ways we talk about it. We can say slope is rise over run, which if you ever see these symbols, that means delta means change. That's the Greek letter delta, and it means change. So change in y over change in x. Or if you're using more of a formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You kind of need to be able to think about slope in all these different ways because depending on what I give you, you might have to treat the problem slightly differently. So let's try finding the slope on a graph. When we talk about slope, we're talking about rise over run. So what we need to do is find two ordered pairs, and then we need to figure out how much we rose and how much we ran. So I found points -3, 5 and +3, 1. So I would say the 2 points that I have are -3, 5 and +3, 1. If you don't find ordered pairs, you can't count the slope. Now, if you want to try and count it, you can count the rise over run. So first, I'll count how much I went up and down. So if I went from 5 and I'm going to go down to 1, I'm going to have to go down 4. But you can actually count it and say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's down 4. So the slope would be -4. Since we went down, that's a negative number, -4 over. How much did we run? From -3 to +3, we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So -4 over 6, which reduces to -2/3. The slope should be -2/3. Now, I would encourage you to practice using the slope formula because sometimes you're not going to be able to count if the points are really far apart. So let's do that. And remember, you want to label your x1, y1, x2, y2. This is the x coordinate of the first point. This is the x coordinate of the second point, y coordinate of the first point, y coordinate of the second point. So when we use the formula, we'll say y2 minus y1, 1 minus 5 over x2 minus x1. 3 minus -3, 1 minus 5 is -4. 3 minus -3 is the same as adding, so that's still 6, and you get -2/3, which is great. We should get the same thing. But since we went down 4 and right 6, down 4, right 6, the slope is -2/3. What about if I give you just two ordered pairs and I don't give you the graph? Well, I would encourage you to label your x1, y1, x2, y2 because it makes the formula a little bit more straightforward. Again, we're going to use the formula -4 minus 3 y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, -1 minus 2. -4 minus 3 is -7, and -1 minus 2 is -3. And since these are both negative, that's going to be a +7/3. They cancel out. So +7 over 3. If you like to kind of help yourself, if you want to sketch the picture, you can always do that. I'll just kind of draw it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's up here. And then -1, 1, 2, 3, 4 is down here. So if I say the slope between these 2 points, you should definitely be able to say, oh, it's going to be positive because as I read left to right, it's going up. And I'll count my rise over run. How much did I have to rise from -4 to +3? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I went up 7. Oh, that's not a 7. And then how much do I have to run? From -1 to +2, 1, 2, 3. So 7/3. You can count the slope. If you want to draw the picture, you can see it, but the formula is also really important. What if I just give you a table? Well, you could do it the same way. You could say, well, there's x1, there's y1, x2, y2. You could treat it like ordered pairs, or you can kind of start to see the pattern here. From 20 to 10, we went down 10. From 10 to 0, we went down 10. From 0 to -10, we went down 10. From -4 to 5, we went up 5. From 1 to 6, we went up 5. From 6 to 11, we went up 5. So if I say, what's the change in y? Well, we're going down 10 every time. What's the change in x? We were adding 5 every time. So if I say, what's the change in y over the change in x, you'd say negative 10 over 5, which is negative 2. The slope is negative 2. It's tricky when they don't count by ones in your x's. So just be very careful that you check. It's not always going to be set up in a way that you're counting by ones, so you need to make sure you change in y over change in x and then reduce your fraction. So that's from a table. Again, you could just list order pairs like 1, 10, and maybe 11, negative 10, and do the slope formula. You'll get the same thing. But if you have a table, you can usually just count rise over run. And last thing, if I say, here's a point, give me a slope, or use a slope to find more points. First thing, graph a line. We're going to start at 1, negative 4. 1, negative 4 is right here. And then if the slope is 1/4, that means we are rising 1 and we are running 4. Rise 1, run 4. So I'm going to rise 1, up 1, and then go over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. Up 1, over 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot. I can't get another one in there, but I could go to the left. You just have to realize that's backwards. Down 1, left 4. Down 1, left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, that's off the page. Then when you draw it, you should always use a straight edge. Make it look good. It's a line. It should look something like that. So I counted my slope up 1 over 4, up 1 over 4, and also down 1, left 4, down 1, left 4. That's pretty much it to get you started on slope. We're going to start talking about slope, intercept, point slope, standard form, all these forms of a line, but slope is the one thing that's in all of them. So hopefully that helps.